Good morning, folks. In this episode, I'm going to be interviewing a 20-year-old that has rode his bike 1,200 miles to Teton County to get to go see the Yellowstones. And he's going to be returning tomorrow. He's been hunkered down here for about 4 days because we've had bad weather. But in general, overlanding, you can do it in anything. You can do it in this Jeep. You can do it in that truck with that camper. Or you can do it in that van that's down there. Or you can do it by walking. Overlanding is not the destination, but it's the journey and the memories that you make in between. These are just places to stay, whether you're doing it in that rooftop tent or, like I said, the Jeep or anything. So I hope you enjoy this episode. He's a very interesting kid, very smart, and he'll be going a long ways in life. Okay, folks, this is Roy and Carol with Overlanding Adventures of America. This is going to be a little different video than y'all normally see from us. But this young man is 20 years old. His name's Eli. He's from Wisconsin, and he has rode his bike over 1,000 miles to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And it's going to be an interesting story for y'all. So what made you decide to want to do this?
Well, I decided I wanted to go on a bike tour when I saw a video of someone else doing a long distance tour. I think this particular guy was doing the Great Divide Trail, but he just said, basically, get out and do it. And he gave suggestions of gear to get, and basic things to do, like what routes, how to pick a route. And I just decided to go west from my house, which is near Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So, for anybody out there that's deciding to do this, what gear did you decide to pick to go with?
Well, it's really it's camping stuff, right? And then you got to make sure you can get it all on your bike. So I have a tent, sleeping bag, and then I have 2 panniers, which are on the back of my bike. We can go and look at it later.
Okay.
But just like waterproof panniers that I can fit all my stuff in. It's probably about 50 pounds. And then other big thing is made sure I had some good tires.
Good tires?
Good tires.
And yeah, I'm sure you carry equipment to repair.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is there any gear that you wished you would have gotten that you don't have?
Wish I would have gotten, well, I don't have extra spokes, and I'm sure, if I go over some bumpy roads, I'm sure I'll have problems with that. I have a really light sleeping bag, and Wyoming is cold, so I should get a feather bag. I still have to do that. And then, other than that, the gear really, I'm pretty happy with the stuff I have. There's like, you can switch out some stuff that I already have, like,
yeah,
what pants do I bring, what shorts do I bring, stuff like that. But
this gives you something to learn for next time, right?
yeah, but really I just went. Left my house.
So, you've been gone how long now?
Just over a month.
Just over a month. And you travel, what, roughly, you said 60 miles a day?
Yeah, but just average when I'm biking. I take off days, but when I'm biking, it's just under 60 a day. And that ranges from, honestly, like 20 miles, and I've done, in good conditions, 100 miles.
And have you ran across any bad weather across your trip?
Any bad weather? Well, if there's a bad thunderstorm, I'll stay put. But just rain, and the worst probably is wind.
Wind.
Just a bad headwind.
And so far, for the most part, has it been against you or with you?
Well, I'm biking east to west, so it's been.
Okay. Back to the gear. If there's any gear that you wished you had that you don't have.
Any gear that I wish I had, they don't have. The biggest thing would be sleeping bag, a warm sleeping bag, because I only have a 50-degree bag. So.
Okay.
And Wyoming's cold.
Oh yeah, we get a lot colder here. So, you left Wisconsin.
Yep.
And what states did you hit?
So I guess I can give you like a general rundown on the cities. So I live near Milwaukee. I went from there to stay at a friend's house in Madison. From there, I went to a small town. I forget the name of it. It's in the east. It's in the southwestern part of the state. And then I went to East Dubuque. From there, I stayed in Dubuque for a while. Then went to a town called Manchester, Iowa, on Highway 20.
Okay.
Then from there, I went through Waterloo, and then went to Iowa Falls, and then Fort Dodge, a smaller town in Iowa, and then I believe I made it to Sioux City. and then from there it was Wayne, Norfolk, and I basically followed the Cowboy Trail, which it's a loose gravel biking trail that goes through most of Nebraska, a rail to trail conversion. And then from there, stayed at Fort Robinson for a few days, which is in the western part of Nebraska, northwestern part. Got to Wyoming. I think we went through Shoshone, and then I went down to Lander, and then back up over the Togety Pass.
And that brought you in there,
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. So, anybody that would be interested in doing this, what would you be the best advice you'd give them?
Be the best advice I would give them. Well, the best advice that I followed was to just start to get into it. I mean, you can spend a lot of time choosing the perfect gear or whatever, but I mean, what it really comes down to is being able to pedal. So, and it gets easier after the first week or two when you get in better shape.
Okay, so what's one item that you brought that you now know that you didn't need?
That I don't need. So, I brought a stack of books
Mm-hmm.
for entertainment, and as it turns out, I don't have as much free time as I thought I would. It's either talking to people, which is I meet a lot of nice people around, or just having to find a place to camp. And sometimes I set ambitious goals for every day, and bike a lot farther than
To beat your goal that you had the day before.
not exactly. I just pick a town,
Pick a town.
and regardless of conditions, I try to make it there, which isn't a very good idea.
So what would you tell someone if they were inspired by you to doing this? What would you tell them?
About
Instead of pushing on further, what would be your advice to tell them?
plan ahead a few days.
Plan ahead.
Like what I was doing, I used just a Google Maps, and I plan like that day. Like I wake up in the morning, I find a route.
Okay.
But really, it's
And this is your first time ever doing this too, right?
yeah. So, knowing how the weather changes as I cross the country, and how the terrain changes, I think I would plan like 10 days ahead.
10 days ahead.
Or just like roughly 50 miles every day, something like that.
Now, you was telling me about an app that you had.
Yeah.
Now, how does that exactly work?
So it's called it's called warmshowers.org, and there's also an app for it. But it's bikers helping bikers, and specifically touring, like bikers on a tour.
Bicyclists.
Yeah, bicyclists on a tour. So it's basically veterans who usually host, and you bring up a map, and you find someone's house you can
That's
stop at.
hosting
Yeah.
for that event.
Yeah, and it can be like they'll make you meals, give you a shower and everything, but it also can just be you have a place to camp and a
Just
safe
throw your
place.
tent in their yard.
Yep, and it makes
Nice.
it a lot easier,
Absolutely.
and it
I
saves
bet.
money as well.
Absolutely.
And you meet so many nice people with stories and who've done what you've done before.
Nice. So you've been gone a little over a month, and the whole time you've been in your tent?
Well, I stayed in a hotel once. Otherwise, yeah, it's been in my tent.
In your tent. So when you leave here, you're going to go to Yellowstone, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. I might stop at Jenny Lake, but it's Yellowstone, and then I would head back east, go Montana, the Dakotas,
Nice.
yeah, and then Minnesota.
So let's do a little walk around your bike.
Okay. So the bag's not on it yet. You can show a picture of that later.
Yep.
But I mean, it's as far as bikes go, it's it's a bit nicer, but it's really nothing special. I mean,
If you would do anything different on your bike, what would you do? Let's say your next trip, you're planning it.
next trip I'm not that good at adjusting the shifters.
Mm-hmm.
So it works right now, but I mean, I need to learn how to do maintenance on it a little bit better. But I haven't had any terrible issues with stuff breaking. But yeah, it's really just I hang my bags right here over the edge.
And those are like saddlebags, basically.
Yep, saddlebags.
And you put your tent and your sleeping bag on the rack there.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have a spot for bear spray right here.
And that's always good to carry,
Yeah.
whether you're on a bike or in a car
I actually
or
got
hiking.
that from a Warm Showers house.
Nice.
So.
And I see you have a headlight.
Yep.
And he has a tail light
Yes.
for his safety. And a bright colored helmet, looks like reflected on it too.
And I have a lock right here, and as it turns out, it's really hard to pick up the bike because of how it's balanced with all the bags in the back.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any problems. I was in, one town where there were some sketchy people. But yeah, usually.
And so what all do you carry with you in your bags?
In my bag, so it's food for about 4 or 5 days, clothing, and I mean that's in the bag. That's mostly it's just like miscellaneous tools and stuff as well.
Okay. Yeah, I seen your little tool bag, your repair kit, and you carry this bottle of water, and you carry your big bottle of water, right?
I have about 2 liters in total, which if I was going south or any place a bit warmer, I would double that.
Double that.
Yeah.
And maybe even a life straw or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, on food, what type of food do you carry with you?
Well, it's helpful to be able to stop from day to day and get fresh food. So I'm doing a lot of fruit, but on me, I'll have oatmeal, either the instant oats or like the steel cut oats that you have to cook.
Uh-huh.
And then I have a camping stove for that, just a little
Nice
propane tank and a burner. Otherwise, tuna packets. Those can stack really easily.
And like when you're going through a town, you probably stop and eat pretty good.
Well, the most common place I would stop for, stop to eat is a diner.
A diner?
Those are inexpensive and the food is always consistent and usually pretty good.
Nice.
So
altogether, your trip's going to be 2 months?
Yep.
And that'll put you about how many miles, you think?
It was 1,200, about 1,200 here.
1,200 here?
Where I live. So on the way back, I would say it'll be about 1,000 miles back because I'm meeting my family at a different place.
Okay, so about 200 miles difference.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, just over 2,000 miles in total.
And for someone that would be wanting to do this, let's say a 2-month trip like you, what would you advise them on a budget?
On a budget? A 2-month trip. So, I mean, it obviously varies from day to day, but for camping, you can expect anything really up to $15. Some private campgrounds would be a bit more. So I would set aside $15 a day for camping and finding a place to stay, and then maybe $10-15 a day for food. I mean, you need to eat a lot when you're biking.
I'm sure you burn a lot of it off.
Yes. At the start, I wasn't eating enough, and that probably took a toll on me. So.
Yeah. So, out of the journey you've been on so far, have you dispersed camped any, or has it all been paid campgrounds?
Well, dispersed camping. I've only done one night of dispersed camping because I looked for BLM land, and that was actually really fun. I saw a cool spot and I just went right up to it. Otherwise, I did do some dispersed camping in city parks after it got dark.
Yeah.
Enter when it gets dark. Leave before sunset. You just try not to leave a trace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, you're not bothering anyone.
That's exactly how we are in a Jeep. Leave no trace.
Yep. But you don't get I didn't get a lot of sleep.
A lot of sleep.
Doing like discreet camping.
Yeah. What has been your highlight of the trip?
Highlight of the trip? The people I meet.
The people you run across?
Yeah, I biked with a guy from Germany, and we would just talk a lot, and we stayed in a small town and over Memorial Day weekend, and we just met this great family.
Awesome.
They gave us a place to stay, got us lunch and dinner.
So the next question, what has been the scariest part of your trip?
Scariest part? Well, I do find it a little bit scary camping alone sometimes, but planning ahead, that can be, you you can plan ahead and find better places to camp. But otherwise, I would say on certain roads the cars going by, especially in Iowa, I had issues, and if I guess I could have done more gravel biking and gone side roads, but it is a bit faster and safer.
So your total weight with your bike and your gear is roughly about how much?
Well, the bike, I'm not exactly sure how much that weighs, but it's a good 50 pounds on the bike, so
50
it's probably
pounds added.
75 pounds max. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah, it's back heavy.
Well, I appreciate you doing this interview and kind of explaining your journey to us.
Yeah.
And we wish him the very best. I think you'll be leaving, what, Tuesday?
Yep.
So he's hunkered down with us, passing by the weather. We've had some kind of nasty weather move in on us the last few days. But after Tuesday, we're supposed to have about 5 days of really nice weather, so that ought to give him a good head start. So, anyways, well, y'all have a good night, and thank you for tuning in. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this interview with Eli. Very good young man, and he has a lot ahead of him. Here are a few pictures of his trip so far in the last 1,200 miles. With the bad weather that we had in the last 4 days, the father side of me wouldn't let him leave until the weather cleared up. We had snow. It held about 4 or 5 times. And here he is. He's packed up and he's taken off on the last leg of his journey. He has about 1,000 miles to make it to Duluth, Minnesota. And that's where he'll meet up with his family and have a family vacation. Good luck to you, Eli, and we'll see you down the road again.